Hello, welcome everyone. My name is Leela Rhodes and I'll be your moderator today. Thank you so much for joining us here at NetCom Learning, a market leader in promoting lifelong learning, training, and talent development solutions. We are very excited to host today's event, Microsoft Azure AI Fundamentals Masterclass. Presenting today's topic is Swasti Ray. Now I'm going to go ahead and pass the time over to Swasti to present today's topic. Welcome and thank you so much for joining.
Hi, thanks, Leela. Now let's move on to another service or another, a workload, that is computer vision. So it's a very interesting one, right? So computer vision is definitely one of the core services or core areas of Azure AI, or basically artificial intelligence itself. And it focuses on creating solutions that enable AI, AI-enabled applications to see the world and make sense of it, right? So for example, this picture, uh, you know, is something that we want our computer to read and tell us how many cars or how many buses do we have or how many people do we have. Now, of course, computers don't have biological eyes, right? So, they don't have eyes like us, but they are still capable of processing images, right? So either from a live camera, right, or from digital photographs or videos. Okay, so this ability of processing images is the key to create softwares that can emulate human visual perception. Okay, so let's see some of the applications that that you will have as part of the computer vision. And of course, this is how the computer sees the pictures. Okay, not like how we see it, but yeah, in the form of pixels. And then basically it does one of these stuff, right, that we're going to see. So the first is image classification. So what is image classification? Image classification involves training a machine learning model to classify images based on their contents, right? So for example, in traffic monitoring solutions, you might use an image classification model to classify based on certain types of vehicle, that if it's a car or if it's a bus or if it's a taxi, if it's a cyclist or if it's a motorbike and so on, right? So really helpful in traffic monitoring solutions. Then you have object detection. So what is object detection? It's basically where the machine learning models are trained to classify individual objects within an image and identify their location with a bounding box. So this is how it works. So it'll basically see an image and it will kind of bind that in a box, as you can see, right? So this box is basically bus, and this is basically bus, and this is car, and so on. So it will bound an object with a box, right? And also will specify the label for it. Okay, this is object detection. Okay, and again, in a traffic monitoring solution, you might use the object detection to identify location of different classes of vehicles. Okay, now next is your semantic segmentation. So what is semantic segmentation? So this is an advanced machine learning technique in which individual pixels in the image are classified according to the object to which they are belong, and then it is recognized and then it is basically masked with some colors. Like this is red color, which is bus. This is blue, which is car. Then this is green, which is cyclist. And then you can, by looking at the color, you will be able to figure out what are they. Okay, so this way of basically like detecting objects is called as semantic segmentation. Okay, then we have some cool ones, which is image analysis. So this is something which is used in your application, which is Google's Street View, right? So you might be using this application already, right? So a very famous application. Okay, and image analysis is a way in which you can create solutions that combine machine learning models with certain advanced image analysis techniques to extract information from images like tags, right? And that would help catalog the image or even describe the image. And if you see here, looking at this image, it is inferred by the model that it's a person with a dog on a street. Okay, so that's how this this works, which is basically called as your image analysis, right? And then we have face detection and recognition. So this is something that you find on cameras on mobile phones, right? So almost every mobile phone gives you this feature of face detection. Okay, and this is again a specialized form of object detection. Okay, that locates only human faces in an image, right? So this can be combined with classification, facial geometry analysis techniques, right, to infer things like age or emotional state, or even recognize individuals based on their facial features, right? So like if you might have seen some features in Samsung phones, especially where you have a smile to capture a feature. If you smile and the picture is captured, and that's where you have this model being used. Isn't it cool to have this, right? Then you have optical character recognition. So this is basically reading texts or reading characters from images. So this is also a great application stuff, right? So this is used again in traffic monitoring solutions, where the traffic personnel can basically go ahead and scan the number, or the basically the number plate of the vehicle, and figure out what's the number and to whom this number belongs to. Okay, so these are some some of the major applications of computer vision. Okay, now computer vision in Azure can be implemented using the cognitive services. Okay, so we talked about Azure cognitive services. So this is where you can kind of go ahead and have the computer vision services. So first service is image analysis. Okay, so image analysis is is basically, I think we have already discussed, which kind of like sees an image and then finds out things, boxes them up, and then gives them a tag, right? So you have a pre-trained computer vision model already in Azure, okay, which has about 10,000 predefined classes. That means a model that already knows how to predict persons, how to predict cars, buses, and stuff like that. Okay, and that image, that model also knows how to do face detection and analysis, and also a couple of other stuff as well, right? So the Azure Cognitive Services do have this computer vision service available, right? And you have image analysis, you have also image classification, object detection, right? And what is also something good for us, right? We have also something called as custom vision service, where we can actually train our model to detect other stuff, like except humans. If you want your model to detect things like apple, banana, orange, or anything that you like, you can basically train the a model to do so. How will you do it? You have to just go ahead and you have to fill the model with your data. Like if you want the model to recognize apples, you need to first show the model 100, 200, 300 apples in different positions, so that when it sees a new image, it can detect apple in it, right? So that's how the models work. You need to train them as much as possible, and that's the way you will be getting the best results, right? Then analyzing faces with the face service, right? So more facial analysis of functionality that than computer vision. We have things like that we can detect, like age, emotions, right? Similarity matching, identity verification, and you might have seen some applications on Facebook and Instagram which kind of does these things, right? So these are all your based on the cognitive, or based on the computer vision services. And in Azure we have a face service, right? A face service which kind of only talks about face. Okay, it will kind of help you predict, basically help you recognize these attributes and these stuff when you see humans, right? So all of these models will be available in Azure as part of their cognitive service, and you can just go ahead and you can consume those as per your requirements. Then we have reading text, right? So we also have the we also have the capability of optical character recognition, or we can say text analysis, right? Basically this is OCR, right? OCR is, and text analysis is also a part of OCR. So OCR is basically the ability to recognize printed or handwritten text in images. I think now we have this feature included in Apple devices as well. Now, if you have a picture or if you have an image on your Apple device, you can copy the text written on that image, right? So this is really great, and you can use this model to kind of do note making or digitize forms such as medical records, historical documents and stuff. You can even use this model to for scanning printed or handwritten checks for bank deposits and stuff like that. So this is going to be a very helpful model, right? And this is also available as part of the computer vision service in Azure. Okay, and this is one of the other use cases of the same OCR, where you have applications where you kind of feed in your receipt, and it kind of it kind of reads your receipt, and it kind of provides you uh, you know uh, the data that you need, okay, from there. So I'll tell you where this is helpful. So basically what happens is, in some scenarios, um, you will have, let's say you have an expense management system where there is an approver who kind of approves expenses, right? So when the approver when the approver basically wants to approve an expense, he might only be interested in this part, and he might be interested in this part. So he might not be interested in seeing which restaurant you ate or which supermarket you purchased stuff, right? So what these models can do is, you can make an application using the form recognizer service, which can allow the user to upload a receipt or an invoice, and then from there the model can only extract these two stuff that we have circled, and then provide only those two stuff to the approver. So in that way, what happens, the approver's work is kind of speed up, right? So the approver doesn't need to go through the whole receipt or the whole invoice to basically go reach a conclusion to whether to approve or not. So if he only sees what he needs, it speeds up the process, right? I hope that makes sense. And that's what is basically is done by the form recognizer service. Okay. Now next model, right? So till now what we have read is, we have read about your your machine learning models, and we have read about your your computer vision service, right? And now we are moving on to natural language processing. So these are all the workloads that we discussed about initially when we started. Okay, so natural language processing is basically the ability where the AI model deals with deals with understanding written or spoken language by humans. Okay, so what does NLP allows us? So NLP enables us to analyze texts and documents, right, to extract key phrases, and recognize entities such as places, dates, or people, right? So text analysis and entity recognition, that we call it. Similarly, it also allows us to do sentiment analysis. So sentiment analysis is a feature which can tell you how positive or how negative the language is used in the document. So for example, when you receive an email, right, from your boss, you can predict if your boss is happy or sad. I mean, if your boss is happy or unhappy, not sad, because from his mail you can specify, oh, okay, if this mail conveys you something positive or something negative, right? So it is sentiment analysis which kind of allows you to predict the sentiment from a particular set of mail or any document. Okay, then we have a speech recognition and synthesis. So what this does is, this interprets a spoken language and synthesizes speech responses. And this is something that is used in your things like Alexa and Siri, right? So it's basically it's basically how Alexa understands what we say, okay, by speech recognition, and also synthesizes basically understanding, um, you know, uh, our stuff and then replying accordingly. So that's basically the speech synthesis that we talk about. And then we have machine translation. So this is basically translating languages, right? So translating spoken or written languages, right? So you have Google now able to speak in multiple languages, right? So that's something possible because of machine translation. Okay, so this is translating spoken or written phrases or languages. Then we have semantic language modeling. So this is where you make your AI model understand. So if I say, hey, switch on the device, right? So how will it understand? It will go ahead and see understand on, right? And then it will perform the action of switching on something, right? So semantic language modeling is basically that part which deals with interpreting commands and then determining appropriate actions regarding that. Okay. And as part of the Azure services, we do have again the cognitive services that has models that deal with text analysis, speech, translator text, and then language understanding, right? And what you can do with these, so you can have language detection, key phrase extraction, like you can detect countries and food, cities, and stuff. Then entity detection, then you have sentiment analysis, right? Then you have text to speech, speech to text, and then this is completely on your Alexa and stuff if you want to build something like that. Text translation, it's basically translating the text, right, from one language to other. And then this is custom language modeling. It's basically to train a language model that can understand spoken or text-based commands, right? So that's something, let's say if you wanna say switch on the TV in Spanish, right? So for that kind of scenarios, you're going to use language understanding capabilities of these cognitive services. Okay, just an example of text analytics. So what is text analytics here? So if you see the text analytics model that you have in Azure, right? What it does is it can give you things like these. So what it can do, it can first tell you what is the predominant language, so that you can see it's English. Then it can tell you what's the sentiment, right? So if you see, I had a wonderful vacation in France. So it looks, you know, positive, right? So the model predicts that it's 88% positive. It might not be 100%. Why? Because there can be multiple reasons. I can be sarcastic when I say I had a wonderful vacation in France, right? So it depends, right? So 88% positive means it's kind of close. Then key phrases. So key phrases is wonderful vacation. So that's something, why am I saying this statement? Because I want to convey that I had a wonderful vacation. So that's a key phrase. And then entities is basically something that the world recognizes, that is France, right? So all of this can be, you can basically use this text analytics model from cognitive services in Azure, which will give you these stuff, right? So that's kind of great. Then if you are looking forward to the speech recognition and synthesis, a model, so what this can do is this can kind of, go ahead and, use the speech to text capabilities. Okay. And then also it will use text to speech, right? So that you get a reply. So if you look at an example, so basically in here itself, you can, say that, if someone tells you, hey, what's the time, right? So it will use speech to text capabilities to understand what we said in the form of text, right? And then it will again use text to speech, right? Which will kind of, generate the audible speech from text. Okay, so it will understand a speech in text, then it will give a text which will be read by the model by understanding the text. Okay, so this is speech recognition and synthesis, and this is basically, and if you see, if you see, the model from Azure, it can do both of these, right? So it can detect and interpret what you are saying. It can also generate something that is being said by the model. So you don't only see the result in text, but you also hear it, right? So you have the text to speech and speech to text APIs that you can use, right? So Azure offers both of these capabilities as part of the speech cognitive service. Then we have the translator service, right? So the as organizations and individuals, we are increasingly in need to collaborate with people in other cultures and geographic locations. Okay, so the removal of language barriers has become a significant need and problem, right? So one solution is to find a bilingual or multilingual culture, right, where people can translate between languages. Okay, and I think all of us might have used the Google Translator someday or the other, right? And why are we in need of using these AI based models? Because there is scarcity of such skills, where people themselves can do it, right? So that's there. And also the number of possible languages that we see on the world makes it really difficult for us to scale. Okay, so increasingly automated translation, sometimes known as machine translation, is being employed to solve this problem. And to achieve machine translation, we will be using a translator text service from Microsoft, from Azure, right? So first will be text translation, then we can also use the speech service to have the speech to text and text to speech combination that we spoke about in the previous slides, right? To achieve this solution. Okay, and then we have the language understanding feature, right? So language understanding is basically I mean, as AI grows ever more sophisticated today, conversational interactions with application digital assistants is being more and more common and making a lot of sense, right? And as I mentioned to you earlier, while I started this session, that almost all websites today that you visit will have a chatbot or a virtual agent employed on them, right? So so that's why language understanding has become very, very important. And the best two examples that I can think of is Amazon's Alexa and Apple's Siri, right? um, and not only understanding what you say, but also kind of also kind of doing some tasks for us, right? For example, switch the light on, right? So how the model works is basically when you tell something, what the model tries to identify is two things. One, it identifies the entities, okay, and the other, it identifies the intent. Okay, again, I will not go uh, deep into technical stuff, but just to tell you that when you speak something, the model kind of considers your speech as utterance, and then it tries to identify entities and intent. So from this particular line, that when you say switch the light on, the light is called as the entity, and intent is basically on. Okay, and that's how you will be able to uh, you know kind of get a response from the virtual agent, okay, from the from the bot. And some of the more examples is when you say hi, hello, good morning, right? So in those cases there's no entity, but there is an intent, that is greeting, right? So then you get a return, you get a reply back saying good morning or whatever, something like that. Okay, so when you train your model, like when you consume the language model and when you train it, right, what you can do is you can decide on this set of entities and intents, right? So if you want, you can add a lot of intents, right? Like turn on, turn off, like these. Then you can have check weather, check score, check calories, whatever you want. And then as per the number of intents and entities your model can predict or can see, you can then make a great solution from there. Okay. And then the next one basically workload that we can speak about here is basically the conversational AI. Okay, so what is conversational AI? So conversational AI is basically an AI which can talk to us, right? So for example, we kind of communicate with each other today via voice calls, messaging, online chat, email, any other social media platforms, right? And conversational AI is meant to support information and answers to frequently asked questions and stuff, right? So the major usage of this is to kind of ensure that the chatbot that we make understands what the person is asking for. Okay, so that's why organizations today are turning to artificial intelligence solutions that make use of AI agents or AI chatbots or AI bots, right, to provide a first line of automated support through a range of channels that they use to communicate. And let me tell you that the chatbot service is a great tool when it comes to the customer service area for a particular business, right? So if you want to provide customer service of the greatest quality, then having a chatbot, having a self-service bot definitely helps. Okay, so this can be considered as the first line of support that you provide to your customers, because if your customer has a very small question or query, they don't need to go to your actual human agents, right, to get the answer, right? So they can get it from a bot, and that kind of solves the purpose, right? If the bot is unable to help, then the bot can also go ahead and transfer your request to the human agents, right? So that's basically is the aim here. Now, after discussing all of what the bots can do, right, there are also some responsible AI guidelines that we need to follow if we are planning to use bots, right? So these are certain guidelines that you can follow if you are planning to make a bot. So first is be transparent about what the bot can do and what the bot can't do. Okay, so you need to specify those things clear out to the customer, saying that, hey, these are the stuff I can do. So yeah, let me help you with it. Next is to make it clear to the user that the user is communicating with a bot. Now, this is something that I have personally noticed that companies are not doing it, right? But if you are making a chatbot and if you're deploying a chatbot onto your websites, you need to ensure that your users know that they're talking to a bot, right? I mean, this is really important. Okay, and it can actually affect your business. Similarly, we need to enable the bot to seamlessly hand off to a human if necessary. And as I was mentioning this in the previous, in the previous slide, that the bot can't do everything, but when the bot can't do something, then the bot can transfer the call or the support to the human agent. Okay, now the bot should respect cultural norms. I think this comes as a part of the responsible AI, that is inclusiveness, right? Ensure the bot is reliable, ensure the bot respects your privacy, handles data securely. So if you see all of these points, right, so all of these points kind of comply with the responsible AI points that we made, right, that Microsoft has recommended the six principles, right, that we need to follow, and all of these kind of comply with those six points that we made. Okay, ensure the bot meets accessibility standards, assume accountability for the bot's actions, and all of these need to be taken care by the developer who is basically designing the bot. Okay, now to make the bot in Azure, you will find a service called as the Q&A Maker service. So what is this Q&A Maker service? So with this Q&A Maker service, you can easily create a user support bot solution on Azure using a combination of two core technologies. Okay, one is the Q&A Maker and the other one is the Azure Bot Service. Okay, so the Q&A Maker is a cognitive service again, which enables you to create and publish a knowledge base with built-in natural language processing capabilities. Okay, and what it does is it helps you define a knowledge base of questions and answers, and then basically uh, the bot can consume the knowledge base to answer the questions. Okay, and then you have the Azure Bot Service. So this is a cloud-based platform for developing and managing bots, and this is where you basically code, I think in C sharp and F sharp and stuff, and then basically come out with a bot that can be integrated with stuff like Lewis, Q&A Maker, and other portals, and it can also have connectivity through multiple channels, right? So these are the two, combination of services from Azure, using which you can create a great, chatbot to be deployed on your website, right? So the Q&A maker to basically, create the knowledge base, and that can be used by your bot, and then Azure Bot Service to create your bot, and then extend and configure the bot as well, and then deploy the bot and manage the deployment as well. Fine, so that's kind of the end of the presentation from my side, and that's where we basically found out what uh, what we what we have in the AI space from Azure, and what are the services we have from here, right? So now I'll be just taking a pause and resharing my screen with yet another a bunch of important information for all the participants here that can be really helpful for your career spacing. All right, first of all, a big thanks to all of you for attending this webinar, and I hope that you got some something new to see, something interesting, and something crucial, right, as a learning part, right? And if that's the case, then let me convey something from my personal experience. So um, I have kind of taken up more than 10 certifications till now from Microsoft. um, and what I have noticed is it not only has improved my knowledge base, it has also improved the way I look at things when I, for example, when I meet a client, and when I do some consulting work, or when I train, a client or so. It has changed the way I look into things now, because by taking up certifications, it has given me, you know, new ways to, look at things, and by enhancing my knowledge. So now when I look at a problem, I can analyze the problem better, right? And I can reach the solution faster than how I used to, right? So I have seen people taking up trainings, and then um, I'm not sure why they don't go for certifications, but I have also met a lot of people who know the importance of certification. So I personally recommend and suggest everyone to take up certifications from Microsoft, and that really kind of helps you personally to grow your knowledge base, and also, of course, without a doubt, in your career space as well, right? So what's the next step for us here, right? So the next step could be to continue your learning, right? Of course, um, you can obviously go ahead and explore, right, the set of certifications that you get, right? So you can choose your domain, let it be Azure or AI specifically, or Microsoft business applications, or Azure infrastructure or platform as a service. Now you go and you get a certification, right? So now there's a list of benefits mentioned here. You can go through this, but let me tell you that the benefits are really huge. And I speak from my personal experience. I have experienced the benefits of certifications, right? It's definitely true that you stand out when you get certifications. It's definitely true that getting a badge from Microsoft certifications really encourages and really motivates you, right, to keep learning every day. keep learning something new, right? And it definitely helps an organization increase the way its employees work in it makes an organization really efficient in how the employees provide their value. So definitely go ahead and check out the certification that you're interested in. And uh, of course you can go ahead and get in touch, and of course explore the opportunities of certifications from Microsoft's websites, and of course from NetCom Learning as well. And as I said, right, so there are only benefits that you see when you take up certifications. And definitely you can go ahead and download this event handout, right, which will help you kind of speed up the process of taking up certifications. Right now, this is something that basically talks about your journey with data and AI. Now, this is because this is the AI 900 session. Okay, and if you're interested, you will be able to find this journey for all the other domains as well. But if you look at AI, this is where we are at. So the first task for you is to go ahead and get the AI fundamental certification, that's AI 900. Then you can go ahead and jump into the Azure Database Administrator Associate if you are going for the data journey, right? And then you can basically go ahead and go to the other roles that you see after you get the DBA certification, right? um, Moving on to specialty certifications. And then if you're going for the AI journey, of course AI fundamentals is the one, right? And then you can go ahead and get started with the Azure AI Engineer Associate, and then of course move on to the Data Analyst Associate, that is the Power BI stuff. Now, of course, if you are going for data or AI, right, of course you'll be going with the fundamental exams for these domains, that is data fundamentals DP 900 and AI 900. But yes, again, I recommend this to everyone, and one of my most favorite certifications is Azure Fundamentals, which is AI AZ 900. So AZ 900 is my first certification, and I think it's the first certification for many, almost 90% of the people who are certified, right? So do go check that out, right? And yeah, definitely choose your path to follow, and increase the value you add to your companies. So yep, so you can of course go ahead and explore instructor-based learnings, and let me tell you why it is important. See, it's it's very like you can get everything on YouTube or on online, right? But sometimes, right, we do not have so much time, right? So we have a restrictive time, and within that we need to hit the targets, right? And an instructor-led training helps you hit your target in a in a less span of time. Okay, so how it does it is the instructor-led training you know provides you the right direction, right direction with the right content that you need to follow, right? And of course real world use cases and all of that definitely helps you. Okay, so you can always go ahead and explore the training programs from NetCom, right? So you can get access basically to a lot of things, right? And of course 24/7 support and free repeat opportunities as well, right? And rest assured, you will definitely find these trainings really valuable and really helpful, and these will speed up your certification journey. That's for guaranteed, that I can say. So some facts about renewal as well. So once you get certified, it's also important to know, what's the validity gonna be, and all of that. So you can also go ahead and renew your certifications. If you're already having a certification and you want to renew your certification, you can obviously go ahead and do that as well. Okay, and there's certain requirements that you need to go through in that case as well. So please get in touch with NetCom Learning if you want a speed up knowledge on this part as well, right? So, and this is also really important. So, yep, that's that's what we wanted to convey. So let's get trained and certified, and let's make a difference in the society. So, yep, thanks a lot there. Yes.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you. We really appreciate you joining us today. We are going to do a question and answer session in just a moment here. But before we do that, we're going to hear from Sognik. Sognik, he is our vendor marketing manager, and he's going to introduce some of our promotions and webinar related courses. Sognik.
Hey, thank you so much. And once again, kudos to Swasti for that incredible session. I'd like to take this opportunity to take all our live participants today through some of the exclusive perks and benefits that are part of registering for this session. So I'd quickly take us through the things that are there in place, waiting for you to explore, and we'll just get started. So first and foremost, we have put together this event handout for all the participants attending this session live today. So feel free to go through this insightful document. You'd find all the relevant links and resources mapped to this file. It's all hyperlinked. Feel free to use the links. We'd start with some basic insights about NetCom Learning. We are a Microsoft authorized training partner, gold level learning partner with Microsoft. And we have been in the training industry for more than 23 years now, having serviced over 80% of the Fortune 1000 clients and having a lot of exposure and experience with respect to supporting government customers as well, starting from the US military to the federal and state governments. Uh, we have authorized training partner status with almost all the vendors in the industry. So starting from Microsoft, AWS, Cisco, CompTIA, Axelos, PMI, EC Council, whatever may be your training need, we have a solution, an authorized training solution for you with which we can support you and your team. So feel free to explore more about us, and we would be having a solution that is earmarked for your specific requirements. Post this session, the session was being recorded, so all the participants, if you want to go back and revise some of the learnings from today's session, feel free to do so using the link that is mapped to your event handout. So feel free to use the access recording link to go through today's recording. Now, an important aspect of today's learning is the benefit, the exclusive benefit of getting access to the AI 900 Microsoft official courseware. That is an exclusive benefit that all the live participants are entitled to. So in order to access that resource, your official Microsoft courseware, you have to access that through the NetCom 365 Learner portal. So all the participants today, the portal access have been created for all of you. So you have to follow certain steps, which I'm not now going to demonstrate. So please follow these steps in order for you to access those resources and also your participation certificate for today's session. So the first thing that you got to do, you have a direct link as part of your handout as well. You can use that. Feel free to use that. Otherwise, you can always go to www.netcomlearning.com and then click on the NetCom 365 button here. Once you click on that, you'd be taken to our portal login page, which would look something like this. So once you are into the portal, it would look something like this. Once you are going for the first time, it would ask you to provide punch in your login credentials. So you have to use your the email ID that you use to register and participate in today's session. Please feel free to use that email ID and set up your password for your first login. Once you are into the portal, you'd be greeted with a dashboard that would look something like this. Now on the ongoing classes section, you'd find the entry for today's masterclass listed here. All you got to do, the first step is make sure to mark yourself present. So once you click on mark yourself present, there would be a confirmation dialog that yes, your attendance have been marked. Next, what you have to do is click on the last day eval. Make sure to click on that. Once you click on it, there would be a very simple form like this that you have to just provide the scores for and click on submit. You can choose to click on submit anonymously if you don't want your name to be submitted. So whichever way you choose, feel free to do that, but taking the survey is an important part of unlocking your privileges. Once you do that and you click on the submit, what you have to do is go back and click on the completed classes section. Once you click on that, you're going to be redirected to a page that is going to list all the classes that you have taken with NetCom Learning so far. So if you have participated with us before, you're going to see the listings from before. And if this is your first time, then only today's session would be listed there on that page. So once the page loads, just give it some time. Based on the server load, it might take some time at times. As the page would load, you would be getting access to everything with respect to that particular class in one go. So you would be looking at something like this, right? So when you log in on Monday and you complete all the process, you'd be given access to the book that is associated with today's session. So in this case, you would be getting access to the AI 900 courseware, which would be accessible from the skill pipe book launch option that would appear in the completed classes section. Another very important aspect is the download certificate button. So once you click on that, it would give you access to your proof of participation for today's session, which would look something like this. So this is for an older class, but it would be appearing in a similar form for today's session as well. So feel free to follow these steps and explore our NetComs 365 portal. It is very intuitive, so feel free to go through it and follow these steps to unlock all your exclusive benefits. I'll take you very quickly through some of our exclusive offers and promotions with respect to Microsoft training and certification. First offer is the Microsoft Skilling Program, which is our enterprise-focused program in place. Covers the entire Microsoft training portfolio across Azure Security, Microsoft 365, Dynamics 365, and Power Platform. If you are an enterprise, no matter the size, if you are a team of 5 or 6 to a team of thousands of employees spread across the globe, this program is the right choice for you. All you need to do is get in touch with us and get your free consulting session with our experts. Our team will understand your particular requirements, your project requirements, if you want support or skilling requirements with respect to a specific project that you want to deploy, and we would create a very customized Microsoft skilling plan for your team. Exclusive benefits include an enterprise discount of up to 80% on the official course deliveries that you take from us, and it is all part of your skilling plan deployment with us. There are the NetCom 365 access for both the decision maker and the learner. So all the participants today are going to be getting access to the learner portal. So once you go for the enterprise solution, the decision makers, the managers, the leadership team gets an access to an exclusive portal, wherein you get exclusive insights into your team's learning performance and budgeting options. So it's truly a 360-degree upskilling experience. We highly recommend for all the enterprises to go through this and book an appointment with us so we can discuss what solution fits you the best. Some facts about certifications have already been discussed by our instructor here. Just note here that certifications, they are an incredible value add to your learner's journey, whether it is you as an individual or if you are a team leader and you are looking forward to upskill your team. Certifications do play a big role in the overall quality of learning and the sustainability of the skills. Feel free to go through the Win-Win of Certification ebook. It is an official ebook from Microsoft. It is a powerhouse of incredible insights with respect to ROIs that have been experienced by professionals and organizations across industries that Microsoft has put together for the decision makers to take a look at and decide whether certifications make sense for their requirements. Feel free to go through this. You can access this ebook by following this link that is mapped here in your handout, and it is a free asset. Another offering that we have in place is a subscription offer that we have called the NetCom Plus. It is an individual learner subscription, which means it is exclusively tied up to a specific learner. So it is a great option for individuals and smaller teams, wherein you want to ensure that you get an year-long worth of training support for a very nominal and economic price of $2,999 per learner per year. If it is less than 10 learners, if you have a team of more than 10 learners, the cost goes further down as part of the enterprise discounts and exclusive benefits. The subscription model, it covers most of the popular vendors, including Microsoft, AWS, Cisco, Confia, and many more, including 60 plus official Microsoft courses. And these are instructor-led courses, full official courses that you can train your team with. It's an incredible value for money option if you are looking for a subscription offering. Another option for the enterprises to consider is the Learning Passport, wherein you get flexible team training for 12 months across 4,000 plus official courses. So this is essentially the entire official portfolio that NetCom Learning has to offer across vendors like Microsoft, AWS, Cisco, Confia, Adobe, Autodesk, PMI, basically the entire set of vendor associations that we have. You get access to the entire thing for 12 months, and it increases your training fund value by up to 100%. So it is a really great option for enterprises to consider and park their training funds for an year-long worth of training. Also, we have a security bundle. We have this is the final call for this promotion. If you are interested in exploring the Microsoft security solutions, the portfolio, feel free to go through this. It is going to expire on June 30th. You get, as part of this bundle, the official virtual instructor-led training course, along with an exam voucher and practice test. So it ensures that you can really get certified at the end of your skilling process. It's a great option for those who are interested in the Microsoft security upskilling. Now, as already covered by our instructor, all the courses that are related to the Microsoft Azure AI journey, skilling journey, has been mapped here. Feel free to go through these links. Every option here has been hyperlinked for your convenience. So just click on the links that you're interested in, and you would be able to explore all the resources on our website. Also, feel free to register for our upcoming masterclasses for DevOps and Windows Server Hybrid Core Infrastructure and Advanced Services in the coming months. With that, I'd like to hand it back to you, Leela. Thank you, everyone, for joining our session.
Thank you so much. Okay, we're actually running kind of short on time, so we're going to go ahead and jump into these questions and just take as many as we can, as quickly as we can. Okay, so our first question is, they were asking if we could share the presentation slides. Now, those should be in the handout section of the GoToWebinar viewer. Just under those handouts, you should be able to get those. Some people wanted to know if there were any certificate attendance links for this. I believe that Sagnik directed you to those. Is that correct, Sagnik? Did I miss that?
Yes, as we went through the NetCom 365 portal, all of those has been covered.
I thought so. I wasn't sure if I missed it though. Okay, then our next is the machine designer example experiments look similar to elements of Power Platform's AI. Am I correct to look at it that way?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it kind of looks similar, but it's not similar because it's a Microsoft product, right? It kind of looks similar like Microsoft Power Automate and the Azure Logic apps, if you can also see that. But yeah, it's not the same. Yeah, the UI looks similar.
Awesome. And then there was a question about your earlier conversation about the AI vehicles. I said, Does Tesla have automation vehicles? I can't recall any stories that they may have heard. Would you consider driving a semi-autonomous or full auto vehicles in the near future? Why or why not in relation to your level of trust in this era's state of AI?
Well, I think that's a great question. I would definitely love to drive a fully autonomous, vehicle. But again, that's a pretty futuristic thought to consider because, there are a lot of other factors that bundle up. For example, which country do you live in, or which type of roads do you generally drive in, or what's the average, number of kilometers that you drive in, per day or miles per day, right? So definitely, from the safety perspective, I think there is still time when we see a lot of autonomous cars on the street. But yeah, definitely, I'll love to drive a fully autonomous car.
Wonderful. And our next question, are there any ways AI is changing our world for the better that you can think of?
Well, I think definitely it is changing our world for better. We can see a lot of transformation in government, in the private sector as well. We can see bridging language gaps by using, let's say, Google Translator. We can see AI delivering healthcare by making us predict diseases and complications and stuff. So yeah, definitely a lot of reasons to consider. Yeah.
And with that being said, do you think AI is going to steal our jobs?
Well, I would say AI is not going to steal jobs, but AI is going to definitely create new jobs because it's just a myth that AI is going to steal new jobs. But as technology is growing in, we are only seeing the growth in the number of people we want. We are not seeing a decline. So definitely AI is not going to steal jobs.
Wonderful. And last question before we wrap up. Do you need to be a genius to start learning AI?
Well, I don't think anyone needs to be a genius to start learning AI. The thing only we need is patience and persistence, because when you start learning AI, things might seem difficult, might seem really hard at the beginning, but trust me, it's going to become more interesting and more cool as you proceed with it. So invest more time, and I think that's going to be the key.
Thank you so much. And with that being said, we are through all of our questions. So we're going to go ahead and wrap up today's session. We want to thank you so much, Swasti, for joining us. In addition to today's webinar, we have a lot of informative webinars coming up. So please go to www.netcomlearning.com/webinars/ and you can register for any of those there. We want to thank you all for joining us today. If you do come up with any additional questions, please feel free to send them to us at webinar@netcomlearning.com at any time. And we hope that you found today's webinar to be informative. We look forward to seeing you back here very soon with us. And also feel free to tell your friends and colleagues about our webinars and other courses. Once again, thank you everyone, and have a great day.